This is your moment of growth.
Hey guys, I know it has been a while since I've done a solo episode, and reflecting back on 2020, I decided that there's no better time than now to sit down with you guys for a couple minutes and just share my thoughts on 2020, what's going on in the world, and then obviously looking forward to 2021 and what may change, what may not change, and what we can do to take control of our own lives going forward. Because what I saw in 2020 was people trying and them being told no, right? Many people told you no. Because there's a trend going around in the world right now of people being excited that 2020 is ending. Like it's going to change anything. Like they think, it's going to click over to 2021 and all of a sudden the virus goes away, the government stops telling you no, and you can live the life that you're normally used to, right? But that's not going to change anything. It's going to stay exactly the same as it ticks over into 2021. And so what we need to realize is that if we don't change, if you don't change, nothing else will change. And so we have to do the things in this world to take care of ourselves, to make sure that we are provided for, to make sure that we are successful in the things we want to be successful in, whether that's business, relationship, or wellness, anything across the board, right? And as we look at the world in 2020, we can find a ton of negative. We can see people who have died from the virus. We can see people who have died from depression, suicide, addiction. We can see the addictions going through the roof. We can see all these terrible things because people think when people tell you no, that you have to listen. And that's just not the case. A lot of times when people tell you no, we have to say to ourselves, now what can I do to make it better? How can I pivot? How can I adjust? How can I shift my thought processes going forward? And during this couple minutes that we're spending together, I wanted to share some of the life lessons that I learned, or I should say that have been doubled down in my life in 2020, and how they're going to affect me going forward into 2021, and how you can make adjustments in your life to make sure that no matter what happens, whether these shutdowns continue, whether terrible things are happening in the world, whether there's massive control being taken over by the government, etc., how you can take control of your life no matter what and create the success in your life for 2021 that you wanted to create in 2020, right? Many people, look, I know a lot of people who had massive success in 2020, but I also know a lot of people who look back and said, I had all these massive goals that got shut down. Well, what if I said no matter what people are saying, you can do what you want, right? The first thing I learned in 2020 is to not allow any one person, organization, or government tell me that I am not essential. Tell me that I am not enough. Tell me that I can't go live the life that I want to live. Tell me that I have to stay inside and not live the life I want. We can no longer allow anybody to tell us that. Right? And this is before, look, let's get out of the government phase of this, right? This is before when we allowed our significant others, our friends, our family members tell us that we can't. It's just another layer of limiting belief holding us back to live a massively successful life, a happy life, right? Like we have these limiting beliefs in our life, and that they come from so many different areas, right? So they can very much come from our youth. What did we learn in our youth, right? And I'll share something with you guys here that I'm going to squash a limiting belief that I have here early 2021. So looking back, when I was 12 years old, I broke my hip. And then when I was 14, I broke my second hip, which led to 5+ surgeries and wheelchairs and crutches. And I stopped playing sports at that time and all these things. And so when that happened, I became a pudgy kid. And I wrote the narrative in my life at the age of 12 years old that when I broke my hip, I can no longer be athletically fit. Now, in my adult life, I've been semi-fit, I've been thin, I've been fat, I've been everything in between, and I've run this yo-yo race of weight loss and weight gain and everything in between. And it's because, tracing back to these thoughts, when I was 12 years old and I said, well, because of this, I can't be this. I'm 36 years old now. Why am I still telling myself at 36 that I can't do the things that I said I couldn't do when I was 12? Now think about that for yourself. What are the things you're still telling yourself that you can't do because you couldn't when you were a kid? You can't have a successful relationship because your parents had a divorce. You can't stay sober because your parents were addicts. You can't become successful because nobody taught you how to create money and wealth in your life. What are the stories you're telling yourself still at your age, whether you're 20, 30, 50, 60, 70 years old, that you learned when you were 10, 11, 12 years old, or even younger? We have to break through those limiting beliefs. So one massive lesson we learned is we can never allow anybody, including our own selves, tell us we can't, that we are not enough, that we are not essential. And so in 2021, to break through that stigma, because I've shared on this show before that to break through these limiting beliefs, we have to get uncomfortable. We have to push ourselves past our boundaries in which we are telling ourselves we have. And so I'm doing 75 hard for the first 75 days of 2021. And if you don't know what that is, it was created by Andy Frisella, a former guest on the show, where for 75 days straight, you do 2 45-minute workouts. One must be outside. You drink a gallon of water every single day, no cheat meals, no alcohol, a progress photo every day, and 10 pages of a self-help or business book. And you hold yourself accountable through these 75 days. And there's going to be massive barriers I break through because I chose to get uncomfortable. So what can you do to get uncomfortable in 2021 to make sure that you're going to break through these limiting beliefs that are either put on you as a child, put on you by society, put on you by your parents, wherever these limiting beliefs come from? What can you do to break through them and break through that barrier, right? I've also learned that relationships are more important than ever. And as you're listening to this, you may be thinking to yourself, yeah, I've lost a lot of relationships in 2020. You know, those friends you used to hang out with on a regular basis that you no longer hear from. Those people that you thought were your ride or die, the ones that would be there forever, no matter what, no matter the hardships, disappeared. I hear this time and time again that this is happening to people, and it's sad, right? And I'm sorry that you've lost those people in your life. But here's what's super important. This is the universe letting you know that those people no longer serve you. And you can do one of two things. You can sit and wallow and feel sorry for yourself and feel bad that that person is no longer in your life. Or you can say, what has this taught me? What has this taught me? And how can I fill that space and that time that I spent with that person in a better way? Was it an hour a week that you can now work out? Was it an hour a week that you can now read a book? Was it time every single month to hop on a call or spend time with them where you can spend that time with somebody who will push you forward? This is the universe clearing space for you to grow. Your relationships, your human connection, yourself. And so these are things that are happening in 2020 that we had no control over, but let's take control of what is happening and build stronger relationships. Relationships that will help take you to the next level. I've also learned that you have to take care of yourself first. There's a lot going on right now, right? Like people are sick, people are dying, people are depressed, people are getting unhealthy, unfit. People are gaining weight, all of these things. We have to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves first, because if we are not taken care of by ourselves, we can't take care of anything else. So what are you doing to serve yourself daily? This is a daily practice, and I've talked about this many times on my show. Usually we discuss it when I ask the guest, what's your definition of success, and what are 3 things you do every day to ensure that success? Their definition of success always varies. Right, everything from being happy to writing my own schedule to making sure my loved ones are taken care of, financial successes, whatever the case may be. But the important thing is those 3 things they do every single day is taking care of themselves, is to make sure that they're constantly growing, constantly happy, constantly healthy, right? And so I'll share with you the things that I do, and I want you guys to come up with your own things to make sure you take care of yourself. There's actually 4 things I do every single day without compromise, without anybody telling me that I can't. Like, no matter how busy my schedule is, I make sure I do these 4 things. 1, I make sure I visualize where I want to be in life. What this does for me is it empowers me to move forward. It empowers me and it excites me for the day and reinvigorates my energy for life. And so I could be anything from visualizing me and what I'm talking about now. It's visualizing my big picture, whether it's the, one day when COVID's over and I fill an arena full of people at Growth Now Movement Live and I hope that you're there. I'm visualizing that daily, What are the things that we need to visualize to bring into our life? It invigorates me and empowers me to take action to make sure that those things become reality. Number 2, I learn something new every single day. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about business, doesn't necessarily have to be about self-development, but I learn something new every single day, because a brain that is not learning is dead, right? We need to constantly keep that fresh and sharp. And what are the tools that I can put into my tool bag to help me move forward? And whether that's reading a book, reading a blog, listening to a podcast, I learn something new every single day. Number 3, I reach out to somebody that I care about and that I love and let them know that I love them, and I check in on them. And it's funny, when I share this one, people they raise their eyebrows like, that doesn't seem like you're taking care of yourself. But I know as I feed relationships, long term, this takes care of me. It makes sure I have stronger relationships, that if I ever need something from somebody that I love and care about, they're there for me because I was there for them. So I do that. And number 4, myself and my girlfriend Lauren take a walk every single morning. We go about 3 miles every morning, and what that does is it gets my body moving, gets my brain right, gets me feeling good. And so those are the 4 things I do every single day to make sure I take care of myself, so my cup is full and I can start pouring into other people. And I want you guys to, if you're sitting down, if you're not driving right now, if you're sitting down, jot down some things that you can really begin to put into your life. And look, if you're doing nothing every single day right now, do one thing. Do one thing different. I don't care what time of day you do it. I don't care about these big morning routines. Craig Ballantyne talks about how much of a joke that is. Do them when they serve you best. Do them when your energy is right for them, right? And number 4, I realized that I have to double down on investing in myself. And I mean this strictly from a financial standpoint. I need to invest in myself so I can become a better person, a better businessman, a better boyfriend, a better bonus dad, a better whatever. And you have to double down on investing in yourself. And what I've done for 2021 is I've joined a mastermind that is more money than I've ever spent on anything in my life. And I've decided that when I know that I invest into myself, number 1, it guarantees that I'm surrounded by the right people, right? Because these are other people that are investing in themselves. Number 2, it guarantees that I'm learning something new. I'm shaping new business ideas, and I'm growing, and I'm going to then on the back end become more financially successful because of it. So whether it's a coach, a mastermind, a retreat, a live event, whatever, invest in yourself in 2021. And look, I've shared a couple times about how even when you're in a tight financial spot, invest in yourself, because the gains are so much more. And a great example of that is a number of years ago when I was first trying to build this business and I just got fired from my job. I had an opportunity to go speak at an event about podcasting, and I was going to say no because what I had on my bank account said, "Hey, Justin, you're either going to pay your rent or you're going to go down to Florida and you're going to speak at this event." And I decided that I was going to invest in myself. Now, this is before I got paid to speak. So I was speaking for free. I had to pay my own way. I had to pay for a hotel. I had to pay for my food. I had to do all these things. And so it was like rent or this trip down where I'm speaking at an event, and hopefully some magic happens. And so my back was up against the wall, and I flew down to Florida. And the one night, a couple of the speakers met in the hotel lobby bar, and we had a couple of drinks. And Mike Kim was the guy that was there, former guest on the show. He was part of my virtual event back in September, and has become a good friend of mine. But we started chatting, and we're talking about business and mindset and shifts and ideas and all these things. And so the waitress comes over, and she says, "Can I get you guys a drink?" And Mike orders a $65 shot of scotch. It was a good scotch. Everybody around the table says, "I'll have the same thing." And it comes to me, this broke guy who goes, "I don't know if I'm paying rent or coming to this trip." And I said, "I'll have one as well." The waitress then comes back and says, "Can I get you guys anything else?" And Mike Kim says, "Y'all have another one." Goes around the table and everybody says, "I'll have another one." And I said, "I'll have another one." Now, Mike Kim ended up paying for all the drinks, but the important part of this story was I learned something there from Mike, which shifted my mindset, and I went and made $22,000 in the next 3 weeks. And that is now why I'm still an entrepreneur to this day, many years later, because I decided to say yes when my back was up against the wall. So in 2021, what are you saying yes to? What are you investing in? What are you doing for yourself to make sure you're going to reach that next level? And, as I talk about growing in all areas of your life on this podcast, I got really clear on what that means in 2020. I got super clear on what does it mean by growing in all areas. It seems very broad. And I realized that it's really 4 pillars that we've created in our life. And if you look at all the episodes, you look at the weekly moments of growth I used to do, it really focused on 4 pillars. Number 1 is your business and finances. So even if you're not an entrepreneur and you're an employee and you're listening to this, what are you doing to secure your financial success today and going forward? So we need to make sure that that pillar is stable, right? And as an entrepreneur, what are you doing to pour into your business? The second one is relationships, whether that's love relationships, business partnerships, friendships, family members. What are you doing to secure that pillar of relationship? The third one is wellness. What are you doing to take care of yourself? And by wellness, I don't mean a six-pack ab. I just mean being healthy, making sure your energy levels are high for your loved ones. Making sure that you're taking care of yourself, some self-care things, right? Like whether it be meditation or whatever, some self-care to make sure you're on a new level. And the fourth one is spirituality. And what do I mean by spirituality, right? Like I myself am a Christian, but I don't care whether you believe in God or you believe in Allah or you believe in Source or Mother Nature or whatever you believe. Here's the important part. You have to believe and know that there is something greater than you. You are not the source of all of this, right? Like even if you believe in electrons and protons and neutrons, there is an energy around us, and maybe that's your spirituality. But how do you tap into that in 2021 to make sure that it's working for you instead of against you? Right? And that begins with some solid meditation practices, some power of positive thinking, that diving deeper into the understanding of what is this around me that's flowing and energizing and all these things. So these are the main 4 pillars, right? So you look at these things and go, okay, financial and business and spirituality and relationship and wellness. Well, that takes a lot of energy and work. But here's the important part of these 4 pillars. On top of these 4 pillars that you want to build is a glass fragile plate. And on top of that plate is everything you hold dear. What is it that really, if you were to lose it, it would crush you? It would crush your soul. Is it your family? Is it your loved ones? Is it a thing? Is it whatever? Whatever, is it your animal? That is on that glass plate. The issue is in life, if we don't find balance in these 4 pillars, that plate is going to tip and fall and shatter. And we're going to lose what we hold dear to us. So think about that, right? Like, there's going to be seasons in life where we have to put our head down and focus wholeheartedly. In 2021, I'm focusing head down on my wellness and my business. These are the 2 things I'm focusing head down on. Well, what can I do to make sure the pillars of my spirituality and my relationships, how can I make sure that those things are leveling up as well? And it could be as simple as taking a step back and going, okay, my loved one, what's her love language, right? Like her love language is physical touch. Am I doing those things on the regular, even though my head is down on these 2 pillars, to make sure that pillar is growing as well? So we need to make sure that we are focusing on the balance of these 4 pillars going forward. Right? And so that's the importance of what we're focusing on right now. And so what I am challenging you to do going into 2021 is to understand first that we have no control over the things that are going on around us. I can't go knock on the governor's door and say, open up. He's not going to listen. I can't go knock on Fauci's door and say, tell me the truth about everything that's going on, and then let us follow those rules, right? I have to pay attention to those things and know that I can't change them. I can't wipe away COVID. I can't wipe away the fact that, you've had some loss and grief and these things in 2020. I can't wipe that away. I can't change that. But what can I change? Myself. What can you change? Yourself. And so focus on those things alone. Only focus on the things you have control over. Because again, if you don't change, nothing else will change. We have to grow in 2021. Understand that we have to grow in 2021 by focusing on the things that we can change. And so that is my challenge for you guys as we move forward, is the understanding of those things that I talked about in this episode. To understand that those 4 pillars is the place where we need to find that balance. And at the end of that, that's where we find fulfillment and happiness. That's where we wake up in the morning and we go, I can't wait to live this day. Because we're focusing on those things. And I promise you on the backside, if you make sure those 4 pillars are secure, money will chase you. Goodness will chase you. Positivity will chase you. The right relationships will chase you, because we have to focus on ourselves. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me in 2020. It was a crazy world. I hope that some of these episodes gave you a smile. I hope that some of these episodes gave you some positivity and excitement in your life. I appreciate you guys. I would love it in 2021. Let's grow this show together. If you could tell your friends about it, maybe share this episode with them if you got something from it, and let them know that in 2021, all of us, every single person in the Growth Now movement is going to reach new levels. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next week.